Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of the Prime Time newscast in the English language on Canal, the International. I'm called Maureen Zia. Top stories. Transporters at the Tongolo neighborhood in Yaoundé say they are prepared to relocate to Olembe, but the new site is not ready to receive them. A result of the pilot phase of the digital surveillance system on the control of inter-urban transport buses revealed that there has been 0 accidents on the highway for 2 months for vehicles already in the system. And the European clubs as association have threatened to prevent African footballers playing in the European clubs from representing their country of origin at the 2021 African Cup of Nations. Those are major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. Transporters of the Tongolo neighborhood in the nation's political capital Yaoundé say they are ready or prepared to relocate to Olembe, but the new site is not ready to receive them. Reactions this day, December 17, 2021, as the midnight deadline given by the Yaoundé mayor draws near the picture of the site in the following story with Beatrice Ngamu.
The Olembe new site to host the Tongolo Inter-Urban Transport Agencies still very empty. Here we are told it is a space for the construction of sheds for some 10 agencies. A little bit up, these engines are to give way to a third platform, a kind of loading space. Close by will be offices for the different agencies, 50 square meters per agency, and it will be 9 in all. Here is a private block, manufacturing factory still at the site. Cars without agencies are to station here. A police post in this building, still occupied by some individuals. The images around tells it is still to happen as work is going on in its own pace. It is as a result of this that the transporters are saying they are very prepared to relocate, but the site is not yet ready to welcome them. Insecurity is rife. Here, the first issue is security. A bus costs about 200 million, where we will keep them for safety. The midnight of today, December the 17th, given by the Yaoundé mayor for the relocation, they see a blank night if the mayor still insists on the date. At the site, no toilet, no shades for passengers, no sheds, no water, no electricity to reinforce lighting, no security. In such insecure zone, nothing can be done. So we think the mayor should do all for travel agencies to be in the best of conditions. The transporters made it clear they are not challenging the mayor, but rather begging in a subtle manner for him to reconsider and extend the deadline.
Results of the pilot phase of the digital surveillance system of inter-urban transport buses revealed that there has been 0 accidents on the highway for the past 2 months for vehicles already in the system. The Minister of Transport says the system must be extended to all transport agencies in Cameroon to curb road accidents. Haisencha has the rest of that story.
The pilot phase of the digital surveillance system to combat road accidents on the Cameroonian highway is set to have been effectively implemented within the earmarked sampled vehicles.
We have 400 vehicles, 100 interurban mass transportation companies of persons, and 300 vehicles of dangerous merchandise. They were equipped with a highly sophisticated intelligence system.
In this evaluation meeting, December 16 in Yaoundé, presided at by the Minister of Transport, Jean-Ernest Ngale Bibehe, statistics reveal that there has been 0 accidents in all cars already into the system for a couple of months.
Within the period of 2 months, we have not registered any accident, despite the fact that we have had about 18,000 accident risk factors that those vehicles have performed, but the system was able to contain the risk factors, particularly excessive speed.
And with these promising results, the transporters clamor for the system to be extended to all interurban vehicles to be able to drastically reduce the growing phenomenon of road accidents.
Monsieur le Ministre,
Mr. Minister, the AFCON is at the corner and many strangers will be in our territory. We urge you to create mechanisms to integrate all buses into this system. Let all the vehicles be insured.
que tous les bus soient assurés.
Meantime, the transport boards continue to frown at reckless drivers involved in overspeeding and overloading, putting the lives of Cameroonians at risk, especially during this festive moment.
Biodiversity is not only a loss to its biodiversity loss is not only a big threat to the ecosystem but livelihood as well. Reason why it's important to preserve it. Reason for the Biodiversity 2030 initiative to accompany governments in the sensitization of actors on the need to conserve our biodiversity. On that light, an important scientific document has been elaborated for researchers and decision makers. More on that story with Beatrice Ngamo.
This stage to examine and elaborate the documents that will help researchers and decision makers better ensure the preservation of Cameroon's biodiversity is a giant move by the Science Politics Platform for Biodiversity and Ecosystem. The stakes here, according to the Secretary General in the Ministry of Environment, Nature Protection and Sustainable Development, is to ensure decisions on biodiversity preservations are guided by good backings, information for effective results. The said document covers all Cameroon's rich biodiversity, the actual situation, areas and issues of concern, the threats to the ecosystem and human, and what can be done. The weight and role of each actors, like sectors, clearly spelled out. From the analysis, Cameroon's development projects takes into consideration the integration of biodiversity in the economic sector as inscribed in BioDev 2030 initiative. The Worldwide Fund for Nature is supporting the government of Cameroon in this initiative, financed by the French Development Agency, AFD, for voluntary and significant engagement on biodiversity preservation. By the end of this 2021, the document will be validated and submitted.
And experts have underscored the importance of monitoring and coaching of small and medium-sized enterprises in Cameroon at a meeting organized by the Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises Development Center in Cameroon's economic city, Douala. It was disclosed that several enterprises suffer from bankruptcy or poor management due to lack of a mentor. Gladys Ambodibang has the rest of that story.
Most candidates who succeed the CEO's role in more than 95% of African companies don't carry out their promoter's agenda. This has been blamed on poor competence transfer and or wrong successor choice, most of whom have other motivations. This was disclosed by experts at this meeting organized by the Small and Medium-Sized Enterprise Development Center, December 16, 2021, to discuss how to enhance small and medium-sized enterprise performance through mentoring platforms.
Mentoring is more of an Anglophone approach than a Francophone approach. Mentoring is key because mentoring allows young people to do better, to know better and to start better. Today, my humble advice will be to find yourself a mentor you admire so you will avoid the basic mistakes and go faster. You don't always need money. You need people who have experience and who will allow you to do what you dream to achieve.
According to experts, inasmuch as top management is willing to impart leadership skills, young people don't have the personal vision to succeed. They lack patience and the will to sacrifice.
A very competitive environment, and when you're young, you can be very naive. You can trust anybody. Mentoring will guide you, will say, have you taken the right measures? Have you signed a contract? Have you signed an MOU? Have you spoken to your lawyer, for example? So that would be the first critical mistake that entrepreneurs who have mentors or the right mentors could avoid.
Small and medium-sized enterprises in Cameroon face several challenges, some of which manage to survive. Reason why mentoring and coaching is important for their performance.
Like towards the end of every year, the regional agro-pastoral show for the northwest region of Cameroon wrapped up in Bamenda this Friday. It offered an opportunity for farmers and livestock breeders to showcase the work of their sweat or the fruits of their sweat, and also that the population might appreciate through buying. More on the story with our reporter, William Fru.
Farmers in the Northwest region have for 3 days been showcasing the harvest from their farms in a regional agro-pastoral show that has ended in Bamenda this Friday, December 17. They have brought out the best of their products to the admiration, congratulations and compensation of authorities.
So now for we here we get the natural honey and a mix with the user. So if we papa them, we use the mix in the honey. Of the today with the use of it and a natural thing.
And then we have transformed products from this wax, which is the beeswax lotion, the beeswax body lotion, the hair lotion, and also we have the detergents.
Government specialized organizations like the Institute of Agricultural Research for Development (IRAD) have also been on hand to present research results of farm seedlings in rice and Irish potatoes. Farmers have also complained of continuous mega-state subvention retarding their will to produce more.
New Rice for Africa is a crossbreed between local varieties and improved varieties. Because they saw that the local variety was too weak and the improved variety had power. So they had to crossbreed the two so as to give a good variety.
Register through a software and the information is centralized in Yaoundé. And then the ministry will provide the inputs at their local level through the input dealers.
Before leaving the SDO's courtyard at Upstation, the governor's representative made a few purchases and immediately got dressed up in the local Bamenda style.
Thousands of Cameroonian refugees in Chad have expressed the need to come back home as they urge authorities to find solutions to the inter-tribal war between the Arab Shua and the Muslim communities in the far north region of Cameroon. Their living condition is said to be deplorable. The Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanga Anji, was there to assist them with basic needs. As we hear the following story with High Sencha.
The situation of these Cameroonian refugees in N'Djamena, Chad, victims of the intertribal wars between the Arab Shuas and Muslim communities of the far north regions, quite pathetic and deplorable. Children, women and men living in total distress, spending nights in open air. We arrived here at N'Djamena from Koseri as refugees. And here we live in open air. As you can see, this is how we spend the nights. Many wounded and struggling in pain, no means to any form of health care. We are really suffering here. With all this cold, the children sick, nowhere to be treated. Our greatest wish is to go back to our land. What they eat, drink, and wear on their body remains a total mystery. We have been here for 8 days. We barely eat nor drink. We have the same dresses we ran away with. Our house is burnt. We don't even have our bath. The head of state, Paul Biya, through the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, coming to the rescue of the thousands of refugees with trucks of basic needs like mattresses, blankets, rice, oil, soap, and others. A sigh of relief for the depressed persons. Thank God, as we have seen you here today. We hope we shall soon be going back. Many can hardly forget their relatives and loved ones killed before their own eyes. Look at me, my husband, killed before me in this war. I am here with my children, sleeping outside. I just need a place to lay my head. Paul Atanganji sounding the trumpet of condolences, recomfort and reconciliation, promising to seek solutions to the intertribal wars to enable them return home.
And the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, while in the Far North region of Cameroon, held a series of meetings with the administrative authorities and traditional rulers, tasking them to master and exercise a full control over their subjects to avoid such warlike situation. He sent warning signals to citizens who take the laws in their hands. Let's take a listen.
Even if they have difficulties, they should go to the local administrative authorities and lay down their complaints. And the local administrative authorities will find appropriate measures to solve the problems. What is unacceptable is that when there's a problem or any issue, people take into their hands to burn, to destroy, to kill, and perpetrating acts of vandalism and looting everywhere. We are preaching reconciliation, living together. And the President of the Republic has instructed us to tell the local communities, the traditional rulers, the religious authorities, to do their homework by controlling their subjects. Because if a traditional leader cannot even control the people in his village, he is not fit to be a traditional ruler. And as from now, henceforth, their responsibility will be put on scale if there is any confrontation in any village. We'll just interpret that the traditional ruler was not competent enough, or was not honest enough, or was not strong enough to discipline his population.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Newscast on Canal International. Thanks so much for watching. We have news in the French language at exactly this 9h50. Leng Kanga, but coming up next is NC Valakan.